Good morning, Sharita.
Mm-hmm.
Do I pronounce
Sarita.
it Sharita? Sharita. Okay. I'm from Indonesia, so it's a common name, but it's a different
Is it?
spelling. Yeah, we
Hmm.
call it Sarita, Sarita,
That's
Sarita.
how you pronounce it,
Oh,
Sarita.
okay.
Like some people spell it and they'll just jack up my name, but because it's Syreeta.
Yeah,
But if you pronounce it Sarita,
Sarita. Yeah.
Sarita, yeah.
Yes. All right. So
Yeah.
thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think just to give audience context that I haven't met Sarita ever before.
Nope.
She sent me email and then I was intrigued because
Mhm.
there's a movie, right? It's a feature movie, right?
Yeah, it's a
That
documentary.
it's a documentary
Mm-hmm.
about doula, right?
Yep.
Right, and
Maternal health.
right. So let me turn the mic to Sarita and let her introduce herself because I need to know. I want to know too. This is the first time that you ever met.
Yeah, my name is Syreeta Gordon. I'm a birth and postpartum doula, also mommy concierge, I like to say.
Mm,
We've been doing this since I've been trained since 2006. I launched this back in 2018. It's been a while. It's been almost 7 years. I mark it on the day I got pregnant with my daughter. She's turning 7. I told you I have a lot of kids. I'm a mom of 4, 2 by birth, 2 by marriage. Kangaroo Birthing and Maternity just came out of just my need to just keep serving mothers. I started out with UPMC, the birth circle, but when I became pregnant myself, and I had a geriatric, it was a geriatric pregnancy because I was 39 going on 40 at the time. It was unexpected, but it was like a at-risk pregnancy, and then go and once I really found my purpose because I kept bouncing job to job and then I was virtual assisting and then I landed into the birth world and then I decided I was like, wow, like how did I find my purpose? And now I'm pregnant again. And I remember having this moment in time with the ultrasound tech and she said, why can't you continue on this work? And it just inspired me to continue on. So while I was pregnant, I built Kangaroo Birthing and Maternity, and it was just like wrote the business plan, and I just served. I just had it in mind, like I had a day job as a teacher, but I served one mom at a time. So now it's becoming like it's so weird now that some people know who I am because it was just a small thing that I started, just one mom at a time. Mm-hmm.
so is it still the same business model, one mom at a time, or now do you kind of have multiple moms you're
Now
serving?
I do multiple moms. I contract with other birth doulas as independent contractors, um, and also lay mothers, and where we offer services where we do meal delivery, laundry service to try to lighten the load for moms during the postpartum recovery period. Because I don't know if you know, during the postpartum period, it's very isolating and we still have to run the household as moms and we still have to go grocery shopping, we still have to do laundry, but you are hurting, you are alone, and having that other avenue of having someone that, like for us, for them to call on, it's been like a lighter load for the moms, and they feel like it's been very life changing, which we didn't start until like the pandemic hitting, when we were locked out of hospitals and things like that. We launched the Nurture Her app with Pittsburgh Safe for Childbirth Cities, WHAM Global, and with that seed funding, it really opened great doors for us, where we were able to launch this app and to be able to partner with moms and doulas to be able to serve moms in a new way. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So is doula similar to midwife?
No, everybody gets confused
Right.
with it because midwives are like medically trained, even though we have some medical knowledge in our studies, but we're not authorized to catch the babies and do physical exams. We are the moms. We are emotional support. We're physical support as far as like helping the mom throughout the labor through different comfort measures and doing different moves to help to progress the labor as it should, so it won't slow down or stop or things like that. We also are there afterwards with a postpartum follow-up, and we help them, work out their birth story. We help them with anything that they might need to connect them to resources to help their lives move on a little better than it was in this great transition. Because when you become a mother, it is shocking. It's a shocking moment, especially depending on when you find out. And someone said that in a documentary, and I'll never forget. I was like, she is so right. Jamie was so right. Like, when you find out you're pregnant, it is shocking. It is fearful. And you're like, oh, my life is about to change. It's over. You feel like your life is over. But
our kids not watching this, right?
I feel like, and I tell moms all the time, I used to work with Women's Choice Network. Shout out to Women's Choice Network. I used to work with them as like answering their phones and sometimes lay counseling. And would I counsel mothers that was on the cusp of like, I can't do this. I can't believe I found out I got pregnant. But I tell them my story. I was like, with my first child, I was like, I was scared. I was so much scared out of my mind because I was just getting out of college. I really didn't have a job. Like, so it was like, how am I going? I can't even take care of myself. How am I going to take care of a child? And then I was in a bad relationship on top of that. So it was like, what am I going to do? And I feel like a lot of women, we are at that cusp whenever we find out we're pregnant. And having that support system like a doula, it lightens that air, it lightens the load. It has someone, not only somebody emotionally you can connect with, but spiritually you can connect with. We are a spiritual connection as well. So it's so much more than what people think. And I know some people like, oh, they call it like caca, crunchy mama. It's nothing like that.
I haven't heard of that, crunchy mama.
I heard that a lot. Like, you're a crunchy. I was like, I'm far from a crunchy mama. Like I like homesteading and stuff like that. Like, I got a garden and stuff like that. But like, it's about relationship. It really is about relationship, because during that scary part of your life and that transition in your life, no matter if you're a first-time mom or it's your second, third, fourth time, you need support. You need a tribe around you to get through this, because motherhood is hard.
All right.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you have 4 kids, and so I think I'm sorry if I have missed this the point that you mentioned that. So at which point, in reference to the 4 kids, did you say, I'm going to help other moms doing this? Yeah.
I think in my own like discovery of myself, like, and going through my own pain, like, I remember, like I said, I was a bounce job to job. I was a substitute teacher for a time. I worked like administrative jobs, and I was like, this ain't it. Like I feel like I'm not serving my full capacity. Like, everybody has that feeling in their gut. Like, you keep going to work, getting up and going to work, and you're like, you're at a tipping point. Like, do I make this change? You're scared to make the change. I got kids to feed. Do I just make this total shift in my in my career or what I'm doing? Because it's scary. But I did it one step at a time to do that in this self-discovery. But what I was doing, long or the short, I was working in a classroom, and I've taken a self-assessment. I was like, I really love working with children, but it was like, I didn't like the whole dynamic of the education system and some of the barriers and that I started coming in contact with in the school system, that it just did not sit well with me. And I said, I don't know. So that was a thing. And then I was like, I need to make a change. I need to make a shift. Then I started tipping my toe in the entrepreneur pool by just helping other entrepreneurs. I became like a virtual assistant. I work with other small businesses, nonprofits, and that really grew me to learn a lot of things about entrepreneurship, and it gave me some confidence in making a shift, and it got me connected to places like the Women's Choice Network, and that led me to a job with that and Sisters Saving Ourselves Now. That like I ran this youth program, but for pregnant moms. That I was like, wow, I really love doing this. Like I love teaching moms, mentoring moms, and it was right on the north side because I'm from the north side. And it was just like perfect. And then Women's Choice Network opened up. And I was like, wow, I really feel like I'm slap dab in my purpose. And then bouncing from one pregnancy center to another, then I ran into a doula. It was a Black doula. And we were just happenstance that day. There was nobody coming in the pregnancy center, and we just started talking. And she was like, yeah, like, I was like, what is a doula? And I kept asking her questions. I never heard of it at that time. That was many years ago. And her name is Miss Robin. Shout out to Miss Robin. And she gave me like a lot of food of thought of, wow. I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm already doing that. I really want to learn more. And she said that UPMC, the birth circle, was hiring, and months later I got in.
Okay.
So that was my entryway into this birth world. Like
so there's like combination of things, like some of them are happenstance, and then it's just built up in your minds like, let me try.
Let me try
do
this.
And at that point, you already have your 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, sometimes
having that experience in itself, like
right, because sometimes you have to experience something to actually get your feet wet, right? I mean, that you remember the pain and suffering of changing diaper day in day out,
the isolation, the loneliness,
isolations, right?
Yep.
And I think, so it's different from the midwife, and midwife probably it's just constrained or like bounded by the medical aspect of it, right? While doula, at least in your surface, it seems that from the beginning till ever, until the service is no longer needed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I really like that when you mentioned that you still are involved in during the postpartum, right? Because sometimes usually the midwife's job is like, it's done. As soon as
after the baby's born, boop, it's done.
Yeah, you deal with the jaundice, you deal with I don't know,
the breastfeeding nightmares,
diarrhea, whatever.
The sleep depravity.
Right. So those are the tough stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that during pregnancy is not tough. It's not tough, but even the postpartum. Yeah, we heard a lot about postpartum depressions, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's real. So do you have any stories about either your own experience or your clients' experiences in postpartum? Can you elaborate on that?
It can be very scary. I know for me, it was, I didn't have it with my firstborn. I think because I was just at home with my mother, and she was helping me, caring for me when she could, back and forth from work. But when I was like, after getting married in my later years, my last born, Zoe, 39 going on 40, my husband had to go back to work, and I was like, oh my God, I'm by myself. And majority of the time I was all alone. Older kids went off to school, and I'm struggling with breastfeeding. I feel like the walls is closing in on me because you're home all day, and it's a tough transition because you're used to just going to work every day. And it was just like, oh my God, I'm at home. What do I do now? Like, oftentimes I tell moms, just take walks, like change the scenery. But it was like that. I felt like I fell into a depression. But what got me out was just trying to build Kangaroo Birthing and Maternity, and trying to find purpose in this pain. Like that's how I got out of it. But as far as like other women that go through it, you see it, and I'm not clinically able to counsel them, but I try to be that listening ear and that sounding board, and we absorb all that in us. Like, and I come home and tell my husband, I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like a weight is on me. Sometimes I gotta get in the shower and wash it off, because you hear these stories over and over again. And it's sometimes the same thing, because what I went through, it's just a tough transition after you're like, your life was one way and now it's totally changed. And what do you do with that? And you're like this milk machine, and you're taking care of a child, and like, you're like, what the heck? Who am I now? You done lost your whole identity after being this caretaker to this. They're this beautiful being in your life, but at the same time, you have a loss of identity in yourself. Like,
Wow.
it's like this catechism, like, oh my God, like, what do I do now?
Right.
You know?
And a lot of times that, people, talk about, that the male, right, do not experience that, or they experience it less, right? Because,
Yes.
Immediately after birth, male counterpart could go to work right away. Right?
Yep.
They can still continue doing their own thing, right?
Right.
And probably they may have night duties, right? But other than that, right? So it's different. While, probably, like me, and I can say that, I had my night duties, right? Because as soon as I get home, that's like, okay, my wife could rest, and then it's my role, right? But still, we could still have that different sceneries, right?
Yeah.
We could still go back to our own routine. Sleep deprived, but still, we had our own routines, right? While the female, while the mother, you're stayed there. Sometimes, it's hard to go out, like, because you're so tired, right?
Yeah, you
but then
are.
if
You're
you stay at home, you still hear the crying, you still hear the fuss, or the cranky husband, or the cranky dad, right?
And don't let it be a bad relationship. So that is a whole nother layer. And then don't let the moms, you're like, oh, my whole economic, like, I don't have any money coming in. What am I doing? Then they're pushed back into work soon. They're like, I'm not ready to go back into work yet, or whatever. They're like thinking about childcare, like, okay, what's next? Like, it's so much that you go through, and that you're like, oh my God, it's just overwhelming. It really is. It's overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a doula, how do you get into that? I mean, so when is the right time? Right. So how do you know that? Okay. So is it based on what they ask, or do you actually give suggestions? I'm thinking that like in that situation, that the dad is cranky, the mother is tired, and then in that situation, but usually I don't know what time. So how does it work? So how does doula? What is your doula's role in that scenario?
I always start. I always like that they'll come like in the second or first trimester. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. They come sometimes, a lot of times, the third trimester. But I like to just have a talk, like we're having a talk. And what is your vision? If it's about a birth, not postpartum, if it's for birth, I say, what is your vision for this birth? Or if this is their second or third birth, what happened at your first birth? What would you like to happen different? What atmosphere would you like to have, or what support that you would like around you? How can we advocate for you better in this space that didn't happen before? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, because you're listening, and it might be other things that might come up, like their medical background. They could have preeclampsia. They could have hypertension, and that's when you talk to them about nutrition. Or I'm not a nutritionist, but I always offer meal plans. Or there's another doula that I know that I might refer to that is more advised in that. And it's like they're invited into the space of a tribe that they wouldn't have before. And we're like, oh, she can help me with the nutrition piece. Okay, this one can help me with this. Because I feel like every doula is unique in their way, because they are an expert in certain specialty. Because certain doulas, like, they might be more privy to breastfeeding than others. Like, so So sometimes I know I'm great. I know how to navigate breastfeeding, but if they're having big trouble, I always refer to another doula. Okay, this doula, she can offer more support. Let's try to bring her in. Whatever the mom needs, that's what we tend to try to bring in, like that type of, support.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like a creating business plan right there. Right. So you identify what you want, your visions, your it's your best case scenario, right? And then you pair it up with what you need to make that happen, and then you provide referrals. Just like, okay, you need these parts, right, to make this product, right?
Yeah, and then so you make a birth plan,
right?
Like a business plan. I didn't even think about that. It is like creating a business.
Yeah.
And isn't a family like running a business? I remember someone, I was so scared of starting this business. She was like, "Don't you run your house?" And I was like, yeah. Well, you can run a business. I was like, you know what? You're right.
Right. So I guess, in order for you not to feel isolated, you have to think about like a business.
You do.
Because, like business, you can't just run alone, right? You need partners, you need allies, you need, you need customers, right? You need the suppliers, right? So I guess, who can ask the clients like, who are going to be your partner in crime and kids, right?
As you birth this family, for real.
Yeah, doesn't have to be the baby's father, but could be somebody else, right? Could be your parents, could be your friends. Exactly. Or, probably in lieu of that, then you may need doulas or more than one doula, probably, right? Like you said, that some doulas have their own, expertise. Or sometimes I'm sure that you have occasionally that you have to refer them to medical people, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Or if their pelvic floor needs strengthening, you invite them in. Like there's even a yoga place that I was like, this yoga place, they like Yoga Motif. I was like, shout out to Yoga Motif. Like I was like, they do some pelvic floor strengthening. Why not try to take a class? You know, because you are preparing for a marathon of birth. You know what I mean? It is not for the weak, and you have to strengthen yourself for what your body is about to go through.
Yeah, and then you immediately have to recover after birth.
And that part.
And then you have to, start doing the operations.
Exactly.
Wow. So is there any moment, or is there any client who was hesitant or kind of refused your suggestions? Like saying, how do you deal with that? Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to meet another, whatever.
I haven't had anybody refuse anything.
Oh, that's good.
I had clients that once you met and go through that, the court, I call it the courting stage, when you're saying, is this doula, you interview a bunch of doulas and say, is this doula for me? Is this the right fit? And I always fight, like, you're not for everybody. And that's for every family. I'm not a good fit for everybody. So that's why I was like, you go through that courting stage. I was like, okay, it's fine. You go to someone else. It's fine with me, because there's a lot of pregnant women out here. So it's like, it doesn't hurt. It's just like a mom has to see what's right for her and what personality clicks right, especially when you're in a vulnerable and intimate space of birth. You need someone that you can click with immediately and have the same values, the same belief system. And that's why I say you have to court. I always tell moms, ask the right questions when you're interviewing a doula to make sure this is right for you. Now, community doula, like I'm in that space now. You get what you get, and sometimes it is what it is. But you try to make it work with that particular doula that you're with, because you need that support. Yeah.
Do any of your clients require you or ask you to be at the delivery room?
Oh yeah, that's what the doula does. We're at the delivery, the full delivery. And
but you don't catch the baby because you're not.
No,
midwife,
we don't catch them.
You're there for support, emotional support.
Yes,
whatever.
And we're there even for the partner, like, because the partner sometimes don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're like the guide and say, okay, try this, do this. offer her this right now. Try to do this particular move that will help it progress a little quicker. Walk around the labor floor to make this progress a little bit faster.
Yeah, I remember that. I think in the middle of delivery that I was asked to press the back, the spine of my wife, and
the acupressure.
Yeah, and then I forgot, somebody yelled at me, harder. Okay.
And we're there to give you confidence. Like, you can do this. Come on. Like, you're hyping the dad up. Like, you're hyping not just the dad. It could be any partner, I would say, not to, if we're included. And you're hyping up the mom to say, you can do this because you feel like giving up. It's like in life, like we reach a point where anywhere we're like, oh, I feel like giving up and letting go. You're like, no, you can do this. You have the strength to go through this. So that's what the doula is there for, So we're there for the entire labor, and also afterwards to follow up.
So, which means that you have to be on call. And I mean, you know your clients, like, okay, this is the due date, probably minus 2 weeks. You have to be ready at any time. Like, could be 2 a.m., could be anytime. 8 p.m., right? So,
but I always put in our contract is that we're there, you have to be in active labor because I don't want to exhaust our doula team or our contractors. Like, get there about 5 to 6 centimeters in active labor. So, because early labor can go really long, but you're there at any time to pick up the phone and talk through counting to the contractions, whatever the case may be, to try to help the mom go through that. Like, there are times when I was there for early labor, especially for first-time moms that are scared.
Everybody's
and
nervous,
I'm there, but in some cases, I'm like, I'll be there right at the active labor point. And so that helps not to put the doula into exhaustion. Yeah.
Okay. So I forgot to ask you this, but I think it's kind of related. So where do you live? I mean, which
North
neighborhood?
North side, Marshall Shadeland.
Marshall Shadeland. Okay, right there. Manchester, Chateau, Marshall Shadeland.
So it's close to Manchester.
Yeah, one of the big ones. Perry Hilltop.
And Brighton Heights, area.
Yep, right here.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So who are your clients right now? Is it like near Marshall Shadeland, or it could be anywhere beyond Northside?
It's always the east. I get referrals, or like Mount Oliver, McKees Rocks, those areas that I get the most referrals from. It might be a rare case where I had some Northside moms. That's like a handful. But majority always have been in the east for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't know. There's a lot of babies being born around there.
So east side, which means
like east, it could be Wilkinsburg, east, Penn Hill, that area, Penn Hills.
There's quite a commute there.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to cross the river.
Yeah. And Mount Oliver is close to me. It's like, it's not that far. You know what I mean? Mount Oliver, I get a lot from there, or McKees Rocks, or, so.
Wow.
I don't know why, but, very few I get from the north side. Oddly.
Very few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that probably is from the north side, but no. Because I'm just thinking about the hospital, right?
Yeah.
On the north side, you have the General Hospital, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But then the main, this, I don't know, mainland. I mean, so we have the UPMCs, tons of them, right?
Yeah, ton of them. I don't know why. It's true, because you got AGH right there. I don't know.
Yeah, so probably part of the marketing. So
yeah,
talking about marketing, let's let me switch the screen for everybody can take a look at. Everybody can take a look at that one right now.
Okay.
So. All right. So this one is the website that you have for the
Kangaroo Birthing.
Okay. Okay, let me.
I feel like I need to redo the website, but it's been a long time since I touched it. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's do, yeah. So this is,
Mm-hmm.
so if you can explain to me
Mm-hmm.
probably this website.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I always refer my clients to the resource library. We even have a shop that you can download, like a journal, and I want to put more, that digital products in the store. I made it so because we are delivering meals. There's the menu on there where we offer postpartum meals, which we added a lot of vegetarian and vegan meals and halal meals that we need to update the website on. But we have a food partner right now. Our food partner is every day is a Sunday. Natalie, a shout out to Natalie. She works hard with our team and delivering the meals to the moms postpartum. And like I have a store which I need to put on there, which I just email out to referrals, is that the meal plans and talking about nutrition during the pregnancy period. And we email that out, and that there's another online platform we have, but it's not on the website. Like I said, I need to update the website. We go over the different doula packages. We have like 4 different doula packages that the client can pick from. And we have postpartum services that can continue on for more hours if they need more hours, if need be. But we email that out as well. We have the coaching, which we haven't done in a while since we dived into being more community doula. And also with the Nurture Her app, this was like we did a lot of group coaching with moms and one-on-one coaching with moms, and also the virtual doula hour that we have just to get them an idea of what a doula is and their birth plan and things like that to introduce them. But yeah, so that's basically it. Like I wanted to incorporate healthy eating because I felt as if moms were not not open to what's the word? Just not educated on what options they have, and because we get locked into a routine. I feel like even myself and eating the same things over and over again. But our job is like to introduce them to new things because there's certain things that can help the growth of a growing child. So it's like, why don't you try this, eat this or eat that, and they're like, okay, I'll try it, or put that in your shopping list. So we offer different shopping lists too with the meal plan.
Because sometimes that you're too stressed out already. You only want comfort food, right?
Exactly. Give me them hot Cheetos. Like, I don't know, but you're just trying to say, you know what? Let's try to grab something else healthy than this. Like,
because people like to say, you're not eating for yourself now. You're eating.
You're eating for two.
It's just a burden by itself. Like, okay, right? The baby's not here, but you already have to.
You're
think
already
about
caring for it before it gets here, and you're like, oh my god, like, yeah. So that's something. Like I said, in the future, I want to get some more training in nutrition because I really, especially with the meal, delivering the meals and things like that, and doing the meal planning, I was like, I really want to get down and teach the moms about healthy eating in a better way.
Yeah,
because especially we get a lot of hypertension clients or some with preeclampsia. Not that it's called by that, but it's like trying to introduce, because it could be another pathway that once they are launched, now you're teaching not only the mom but this family that it will be able, the mom, we are the control center of everything. Like, so if the mom teaches herself to eat healthy, she's going to start cooking that way for the whole house. So that's my thing, is like teaching mom is like teaching the nation. I don't know who I'm quoting there, but I don't know if that's Malcolm X. But I like, mom, you teach a nation. They're the ones down and teaching the kids. So yeah. So yeah.
So a lot of these things, probably new to a lot of people, right? Like when people mention about the doula service, in my mind,
Yeah.
then I already have two kids and they're already grown up, and I always thought about doula service is required probably only in the last trimester, right? But it seems that this is way before.
It's way
right?
before.
Right?
It depends.
Right.
Like I said, it depends when they come to you. I'm grateful to the ones that come to second trimester. I'm like, ooh, a lot of times I get it at the tail end and they're about to hit their due date.
Right,
like, oh my gosh. But like for instance, like I had a mom last year, I remember it was at the tail end, and I was like, let's make the best of it. We did a comfort measures class out of Panera Bread, and I taught her and her partner how to do different, comfort measure moves and it proved to be the best thing because during the labor, the dad started doing it. Like he remembered what I taught him, and it was so a grateful experience. Like, oh, you remember what I told you, and it made for a better labor. You know what I mean? Because she felt supported, and they were educated and they knew what to expect. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and I feel like the doula provides that. They provide that education.
So I guess like I think going back to it's a business plan, right? I mean, a lot of planning have to happen before you launch. Before the baby is launched.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right. So I mean, the earlier or the better planning you do, then I guess I don't know. I don't want to say the better outcome, but I guess for you, when you plan it longer or correctly or properly, then less nervous you are, right?
Yes.
Less anxiety. Is that correct?
That's right. You're less nervous because you know what to expect. You're educated about what's going to happen next. Like some people don't know how to count their contractions. Some people don't know how to count the kicks, because even counting the kicks while the baby is in your belly, you can prevent like infant mortality even just that way. You know what I mean? Like how many times have your baby moved within an hour? How many moves? How many kicks? And sometimes moms are not, I didn't know about that when I was 20, 22, 23, when I was pregnant. I had no idea about that. Nobody told me until I became a doula. You know what I mean? So you educate them about that. You educate them about the birth and how to navigate the labor, the stages of labor, what moves to do at different stages of labor that kind of help things that progress, faster. So we in comforter, and it's a mind thing. I feel like it's like 90% your mind, because you're scared out of your mind and the pain is overwhelming. And you're like I was like, think about it as mind over matter. And one of the childbirth education things we've done is like holding a piece of ice. Like, how long can you hold this piece of ice? It's very uncomfortable, right? And it's making you, I'm so sorry. It's making you, it's making you like uncomfortable, and you feel a certain amount of pain, but it's a good analogy to use in childbirth. So, yeah.
So, are your clients mostly first timers, or do they come back? Because
I had ones that came back.
I'm just hoping probably the people who have second child or third child probably are not. They're more educated, probably, or they're less anxious, right?
Yeah.
I assume.
But it's still, they feel still afraid, even though it's their second time around, because especially with Black women, because I mainly serve Black women, like I had a client that had different ailments than the second time. Like you're up against different things and different fears that will come into your head. Like, oh my God, like I got to be up against this in my labor, and it might show up like this in my postpartum, But yeah, it's different. I feel like it's different every time you get pregnant.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Just thinking about, not especially, but when you have other kids already, right? I mean, actually, the challenge is even harder, right? Because you have to nourish yourself, you have to nourish your other child, and you have to nourish your pregnancy. So that's actually even more challenging, right?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like I guess again after the delivery, then now you have a lot of things, even more things to juggle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The homework of the kids if they're already in school age, right?
Yep. You balancing that if you have a school age child and then a newborn and feed the newborn and getting them acclimated and getting them on a schedule. It is hard. It is really hard.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, great. I think I'm more educated. I learned a lot more, and I think I completely agree with the word that you put in your business. It's like concierge.
It is.
You are. Like, oh, now I get it. Right?
You get it now.
It is a concierge service, like room service. I need.
Yeah.
Right.
If you need a meal, if you need your laundry done,
right.
We're there to help you.
Or make all these appointments, right? Especially, I don't know. I don't want to like any. I don't want to say either UPMC or AGH or whoever, right? Whenever you make an appointment, and sometimes it's especially when the baby is young, a lot of appointments to be made. All this injections, vaccination or whatever, right? So that's quite overwhelming, and especially if the mother also has some medical that has to be attended.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a great service. Let me scroll down again here. So I guess you do have a group coaching as well as a one-on-one consultations, right? Then over here, right there you go, group coaching. Oh, recipes.
It's just the meals that get delivered. That's on the menu. That's what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you prepare the meals yourself, or do you have subcontractor or
subcontract with Every Day's a Sunday, and she cooks the meals, prepares them, and they're pre-cooked, and they can just pop them in the oven, and it'll be ready so they can and just encourage rest, so the mom can rest right after they get out the hospital or a birth center. That's the whole point, is encourage rest. Yep.
All right. So here I'm sharing this to everyone. So the phone number, kangaroobirthing@gmail.com. Wonderful. I think it's such a great service. And I think more and more people need to know that that it requires planning, right? So and then requires support, emotional and sometimes physical support when it's getting closer to birth.
Yes.
And then when the baby is out, then you need even more support because you're going to be isolated. Right? So I think that this is a complete concierge service.
Yeah.
It redefines concierge service. So it's awesome. So, and then you have this movie coming out, right?
Yeah.
So, and so what is this movie about? How did you come up with this? And then, let's the origin story of this movie.
Oh, okay. Well, our nonprofit fiscal sponsor, New Sun Rising, they had a grant along with Riverwise, because Riverwise and New Sun Rising came about with this grant opportunity. And I was like, Syreeta, they emailed, Syreeta, would you be interested in this? I was like, all right, okay. It was a creative advocacy grant. I just thought video. I just thought, because we were already doing videos like educational tutorials on the app. Because we have an app where, you do educational tutorials on how to navigate different parts of motherhood. But this, I was like, this will be a good way to, how can we advocate for doulas to get equity? How can we advocate for mothers to get the birth that they want? How can we do that creatively? So I wrote, the grant, answer the questions. I just never think that I will get the grant. You write the thing, you just send it off, and but then it was like, oh, I got picked. Oh my God! And then the next part was we had to pitch. We had to do like a pitch competition, and each org did a pitch, and I did my pitch on doing a video. But in the process, we had all these working groups that we had come together with New Sun Rising, which was great. Shout out to Scott, Jamie Johnson at New Sun Rising. It really helped me to think, how do you want this to look? What do you want to get out of this project creatively? What is the end goal of doing this video? And then I was like, okay, we kept writing the vision, writing it down. And then it came to the part where I had to figure out who's going to be the director. And then the weird part of the story was during the midst of a pandemic, I met Corey Langford. I didn't know who he was, but I just delivered him a meal. And he told me the backstory that he was going through a lot of job loss. And he was like, Syreeta, those meals was life-saving for me and my family. Thank you. And he told me at delivering the meals, I don't know why he shared this with me. He was like, we're about to do this photo shoot for him and his wife. I thought it was so cute. I was like, oh, he's a photographer. I was like, okay. I didn't know who he was. And I was like, and it just popped in my mind. I was like, let me reach out to that guy I met when I was delivering the meals. Reached out to him and it was like, oh, I'm all on board, and I told him the vision and we came up with this other idea and it was his idea as far as like, why not we follow the story of a Black woman going through love, loss of love, and then having to navigate pregnancy alone. You know what I mean? So in the midst of interviewing like these people like we had in mind, but we have the theatrical story being crafted out to show you what it really feels like to be us. Not just telling the stories from the doula or the midwife or the mom, but seeing it acted out. I think I feel like that's advocacy in itself, like seeing it from that point of view, which I thought was really great. And that was his vision it met my vision. And I felt like it exploded to where it's at now. And so yeah, I was just like, wow, like, and now it's just like unfolding to be this documentary. We want to add more interviews, more stories, but it's just the short form right now. And that's what we're trying to release April the 5th. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And just FYI, New Sun Rising is also Storybrooke's fiscal sponsor.
Yeah.
But this is not a promo, okay? So, I mean, even without NSR being their fiscal sponsor, I'm still gonna have Syreeta telling her story about this,
yeah.
And because it's great, and I'm glad that NSR provides. Good job, guys, for picking Syreeta's story because it's a must-have, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Pregnancy is such a literally life-changing moment.
Yes, it is.
Right. So, I mean, just like, NSR or any other business incubators, right? Always advocate for business plan, a lot of planning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Having a child is a tremendous business.
Yes, it is. It's a tremendous life change and just women that are not being seen and heard in those spaces. I feel like this documentary will give voices to the women, amplify the voices of the women that didn't feel seen, didn't feel heard, like they got pushed to the side when they were like, this is happening in my body and you're ignoring what's happening. And really getting the attention of, I don't know where this film is going to end up. You know what I mean? It was just such a small seed, like, of that $5,000 grant. And I was like, let's make this as much as what we can out of this situation. Right. So this is just a form of advocacy for our Black women,
yes. Yeah. And I need to also, I just come up in my brain right now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times that the father is not present.
Yes.
Right. So the single motherhood, right? So would you be able to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah. Even personally, and then the clients that I serve, like, but personally, especially when I became a mother, it's at a cusp where the man, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? But my baby's father ended up leaving, and I was crushed. And I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm really doing this all alone. But thank God I had my mother. And there's some people that don't even have that type of support system. And it's tragic. Like, and you see it in your community. And that's why doula support is so life changing. And seeing it in the community, like being a single mom and not having that type of support. But there's a lot of mom groups, a lot of mom organizations out there now, like Pittsburgh Brown Mamas, like Single Moms Defined and Melanated Mamas. I forget the name of it. But it's like there's a lot of support out there. It's just trying to find that network of support that fits you, and building that network of support that is going to fulfill the need for the mom. Even though we do need that male voice, we do need that male there, but I'm all about, you got to create your own ecosystem of support at times when that fails you, when that male support fails you. And that's what I did, and that's what I'm trying to create with Kangaroo Birthing Maternity and Nurture Her app. I feel like it's a really building a network of support, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So it's great. Yeah. And again, another point of why this service is required, and that's to be a lot of you guys, Pittsburgh is big. I mean, I should
Yes,
mention
it
that
is.
right now you're all, right now you cover probably north side and some of the east side, right? So, this service, a lot of people have to know about this service, that it's available
Thank you.
for anyone to look it up, at least, right? See whether it's right for you. And my next question probably is it probably is hard, it's just, but I have to ask, in doing this as a single mother at one point, and probably also for your clients,
Yeah.
has it ever come up to consider abortion, for example?
No, not the clients that I serve, but when I worked within pregnancy care centers, yes, that question came up. Yes, like I listened and I heard and I said, it's your body, you're welcome to do what you want. But I always give my story where I was faced with that decision myself, because I knew that my baby's father was not going to stick around. We know, women got that intuition in their gut. And I was like, what have I gotten myself into? But I felt like that one decision changed the rest of my life, the trajectory of my life, and it gave me purpose. Like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't make that decision. But when women are faced with that, so yes, it is your decision, but there's something, I feel like there's a point of self-discovery that happens when you become pregnant. Like, it sits you down, it slows you down to really know, like, it's a transition to figure out who you are. Because I don't know. I know for me, I can't speak for everybody else.
Right.
In my story, I felt like I was wilding out. I was really not being the woman I am today, and protecting me, protecting my heart, protecting my temple. Like, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my purpose is. All I was really thirsting for was love, searching for love. And I feel like that's what a lot of women are at. They're searching for love, but doing it in the wrong way. And then you end up in these situations like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And, but it leaves you to really figure yourself out. Like, but I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for my daughter, Bobby. She's really changed my life. And like, I just was on the phone. She's doing stuff that I wanted to do in my 20s. Like, she's traveling. She's in Mexico right now, traveling the world. Like, I was not like that in my 20s. I was so worried about being hooked up with somebody. And I'm like, and I think because I kept talking to her and saying, you know what? Learn who you are. Like, that is so much better than the love for yourself is so much better than the love outside yourself.
Yeah.
Search for that within. Like I feel like I wasted so much time, and that's why we fall into these situations or fall into, having a decision. Do I abort? Do I keep it? Do I, so I always answer the question with abortion. It is her body, it's her decision. But I always tell my story, it's a point of contact that God has with you to sit you down to say, you know what? You need to reconfigure your life right now. There's a reason why this life came into your life right now. And that's how I see it, Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Probably, you're not thinking that, it just came to mind because this is just a little.
That's totally.
Sorry if it's so personal, but
it's really personal because I had a lot of women come with that decision.
Yes,
for real.
Yes. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. I think it's a powerful story that you shared with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie.
Okay.
Right? So let me switch to the screen. Her dreams, the story of the future. Yeah, so you mentioned about that, the origin of the movie, and we're going to have it on April 5th. Where is it going to be held at?
At the Kelly Strayhorn Theater in East Liberty. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and this is the director, Corey Langford. Okay, and this is the schedule. Yep, it's going to be at the Kelly Strayhorn on April 5th. And let's take a look at... let me turn on... So the audio is going to be heard by our audience, but probably we don't hear it, but you can see the closed captions.
Deep down on the inside of my body, don't give up on me yet. As much as I love what I do, I know I'm not your best. I don't want this job. I don't want it to be necessary. I just want to be able to hold babies and help mamas. I don't want it to be so tough, but that's not a real thing, right? And God,
there's so many limitations economically for Black women, period.
Trauma can start once you find out you're pregnant. Depending on the circumstances in which you find out, it can start right there.
I went through postpartum during my pregnancy because I was incapable to take care of myself. So I felt like a mother who was given this blessing, but was unable to really take care of this blessing that I was given. Brand new scars in this broken heart, it's hard to really know.
Having options, being well educated on those options, and being able to make a choice with you and your partner without fear of consequences, and without being isolated and silenced in those fears.
I want them to look at us as professionals. I want for all of us that do this work to recognize that we cannot do it by ourselves, that there's enough for all of us. It's up to us to fill in the gaps, and the only way that that is going to happen is if we support and communicate with each other.
Black birth in Pittsburgh would be Black people owning our birthright, gatekeeping birth from those who are looking to do harm and cause trauma, and letting it be a field for Black people to thrive and explore it.
God, I know I'm not the same.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
powerful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watch it at Kelly Strayhorn.
Yeah.
Is there? So what's the next thing? What's the next step?
It's a good question. I just would like to use this as an action tool. As I kept thinking about it, and we had those sessions with New Sunrise and Riverwise, and I want to do a community investment fund. So doulas, birth workers, mental health counselors, in this space, those workers, they can have a say in another fund that they can dip into to really help mothers. It can further aspiring or existing doulas maternal health career by having further training. It could be capacity building for a doula organization that might need something grant writing funds. I feel like the sky's the limit. We would like to have like a mom advisory board to try to decide how this money is spent. Once these ticket sales will go towards that small pot of money, and hopefully it'll be a lot of money. We don't know. I hope it's a lot of money, but it's like that money will go towards somewhere. Like there's all these studies going on right now about how can we best serve, especially Black moms, but no one knows that but the voices of Black moms. And I feel like we want to collect the data and the voices of moms. Like at this film, we're going to they're going to write down how they feel and asking a few questions about what is their vision for the future of Black birth in Pittsburgh? Where would you like this to go? What is your hope? Just writing that down, because I feel like we're like in leading organizations, we can put what we want, what we think, but I would like to hear it and give them the control back that they felt like they lost. Like, where do you like this to go? And I'm not sure where this will go. I don't know, but I feel like that's one of the first goals I would like to see, is like to see that. And if it goes global, maybe a toolkit and how you could launch and watch this film and organize that in your community. And as it goes global, but right now in Pittsburgh, because we have a deficit right here, like I want to just focus right here before you just go out. But that's what I want to see here in Pittsburgh first, you know what I mean? And then it will go out,
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to be done in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Even you say just North Side,
Yeah. I'm born and raised in North Side. Oh my God, I seen the ebbs and flows. Like I left Pittsburgh, came back. I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm here for a purpose, because I used to hate it. I still hate it here at times. But I said, you know what? I'm going to make the best of while I'm here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So, looking at all the studies about pre-birth trauma, right, that the mother has to endure, and even due to pregnancy or outside pressure or whatever, right? And then it actually impacts the babies when they come out, right? When they come out, they have, there's a connection. I don't know. I mean, I think there are studies out there. So,
You're right.
doula is important, especially if you think business plan is important for your business. Doula is important for your birth plan. Not just birth plan, but your child plan, right?
Ain't that
for
right?
an entire part.
You're right.
All right, great. Thank you for service, and I love talking to you about it. And I learned more from you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is great.